Hello, and welcome back to episode 2 with Logan is Lonely. Last time we just kind of did some brief introductions. It got a little depressing, but I promise that this episode won't be as depressing. I'm not going to talk about loneliness every single time. That's just the premise of the show. You get it, you're not stupid. Let's move on. They just announced a Pokemon Presents that's going to air, I believe, this Friday. I believe it's Friday, the 27th. I do not have high expectations for this presentation. Let me give you just a little bit of background. I do enjoy Pokemon. I've grown up with it. I was introduced to the Pokemon anime, the Game Boy games, as well as the cards during the Pokemania craze in the late 1990s. I was a grade school kid at the time, and I, of course, like any other kid, was swept up in the madness of the Pokemon season. With that being said, besides, let me just quickly list the games that I've played just so you could sort of understand where I'm coming from. As a child, I have played. Hold on. I'm terribly sorry. They're doing some sort of announcement over the PA. That's one little piece of information for you. If you live in the Japan countryside, if you think it's going to be just quiet and peaceful all the time, that is incorrect. They're going to come blasting at you with random sirens and notifications. I mean, there is a gong, not a gong, like a song, chime, that goes off every day at 12 o'clock and 5 o'clock. Right now, I'm recording this at 6 p.m. There was some sort of announcement. I don't know what it is about. Anyway, let's get back to the podcast. The only games that I have played in my childhood were Pokemon Red, Blue, Yellow, and a little bit of Silver. Maybe Gold? I can't remember. I think it was Silver. I kind of dropped off of Pokemon once I got into middle school, but I did, however, come back, and I really kind of actually enjoyed my favorite generation is actually Ruby and Sapphire. I was introduced to that through the 3DS playing Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. I played the Alpha Sapphire version first. I was introduced to that generation through the 3DS remakes, and I actually went back and played Emerald and really enjoyed it. I love that Game Boy Advance art style. I think it's absolutely fantastic. It's great. I love it. Around that time, I also played the Alola games, which is 7th generation. And let's just say I played a very small amount of Pokemon Sword and Shield, as well as what was the most recent? Scarlet and Violet. Really did not get into the Switch games. I had high hopes for them. I just didn't quite fall in love with those titles. I did enjoy Arceus. Pokemon Legends Arceus I thought was fantastic. Overall, I think that the Switch titles could have been just a little bit better than they were. I had higher expectations for the first handheld / console hybrid generation. Anyway, regardless, we're here to talk about the upcoming Pokemon Presents showcase. It has not aired yet, and I knew most people like to do a... sorry, if you can hear any background noise, I opened a window. It's super stuffy in here. Just want to get a little bit of fresh air so you can hear some cars going by. I apologize for that in advance. Anyway. Oh, boy. Okay, let's just go anyway. It'll be fine. Usually I've noticed that a lot of people would like to do sort of like, predictions on what's going to come in one video, and then they do a reaction in a second video. I'm just going to do all of this in one. First half of this is going to be predictions. That's probably why you're sort of confused, because you're like, hey, we already know. This was posted after the Pokemon Presents already aired. I got you, but I just wanted to put both of them in one video so we can sort of compare and contrast immediately. Plus, you can listen to how stupid I am and how wrong I am about everything. Anyway, I don't expect really anything to come out of this Pokemon Presents. I don't want to offend anybody. I know there's a ton of Pokemon superfans out there. I'm super stoked for you, real happy. But Pokemon Presents and Sony Directs and Xbox, whatever they call their thing, they just don't do it for me, man. They have been so flat lately. I've just been just like, ugh, I've been dying. I've been dying for something great from Pokemon. I thought Pokemon Sleep was kind of cool. I played that for a little while. I played that for like 6 months. That was really fun. I like Pokemon TCG. I'm enjoying myself with that. But we always want the re-releases of the old games. We really want those classic games on Switch, whether that's on NSO, which they probably would never do, or we want them on like a physical cartridge. That's what everybody really wants. They want the dual cartridge release, all of the red games on one, all the blue games on the other. That's what everyone's dying for. They want it so bad they can taste it. I don't think they're ever going to do it. Quote unquote leaks have come out, and people have said, hey, there's leaks. It's coming. And it's like, dude, we hear that every year, man. That's just not going to happen. Hopefully when I'm filming the second part of this, I'm going to be like, they did it. They bucked the trend. They gave us something we've been asking for years. It's finally here. I mean, the last time they've re-released these games to us legally has been on the 3DS like eShop, which is now long gone. I don't know. I've played some of these games through emulators. That's totally fine. But I want a legal way to play them. I want them available to me. I'm totally fine with paying for them. Plus, they would connect to Pokemon Home. I mean, come on. Work with me here, people. Like, this is what we want. This is what the fans want. This is what everybody wants. We're willing to give you the money. I think after the last two releases of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and Pokemon Sword and Shield, I think we could use a little nostalgia. I think we're kind of ready for, I don't know, the Pokemon games kind of need a win right now. The remakes of the 4th gen were really not well received either. So Pokemon on Switch, I don't think has overall been that great. At least when you compare to the 3DS. I mean, the 3DS I thought was much, much better. Anyway, I don't think that those will be there. I think that we're probably going to see some updates to Pokemon Sleep. There's probably going to be some really there's going to be a limited time shiny Rayquaza or something like that you can only capture if you sleep this much time on this certain day, I don't know. I haven't played Pokemon Sleep in forever. I don't play the cafe game either. Like, they really just use the Pokemon Presents to just update the mobile apps, which is fine. I understand those games are super popular. There's a large player base for them. I just wish that they would showcase a little bit more of the main series, a little bit more of like some serious games. I do think that we are going to see that new Pokemon Legends title, the Pokemon ZA, I think is what it's called. I'm looking forward to that, but I haven't seen any footage really of it, obviously, yet to get super excited about it. Legends Arceus was fantastic. I really enjoyed that title, so I probably will love this one too. I think we probably will see something about that because that's supposed to release this year, and that'll probably be the swan song of the Pokemon titles on Switch. After that, I doubt we're going to get anything else. So besides the updates to the apps, besides maybe a little bit of Legends, which will probably be the big closeout title, that'll probably be it. Not only do I not think they're going to announce the old titles, but one of the main reasons that they probably won't is because they would naturally save that for the Switch 2 that's on the horizon. Wouldn't you think that in the first year or so they would say, hey, by the way, you want to play the old games? Here you go. I mean, it would be great because the Switch 2 is going to be backwards compatible, and you could sell those games to a lot more people by just dumping them on the Switch 1 plus their Game Boy games. So who cares? I don't know. Hopefully they do. They probably won't. Please, I hope I'm wrong. But Pokemon Directs have been slightly disappointing for me the last couple times. I've wanted a big, huge blowout. We've been spoiled with a lot of these Nintendo Directs of getting Metroid Prime 4 announcements. And I'm just so used to Nintendo Directs that when we finally get a Pokemon Direct, I'm also expecting a big blowout. And the big blowout it doesn't quite happen. There's fun announcements, and it's like, oh, that's kind of cool. I like that. But I don't know. Nothing super mind blowing. But anyway, that's probably enough for my prediction side. I will come back in about 3 or 4 days' time and record the reaction with a breakdown of everything that they have announced. Oh man, fingers crossed, people. Hopefully, we get something good. Okay, and so after a little bit of a break here, it's been 2 days since I recorded that initial predictions section there. Um, I watched it live. I watched the Pokemon Presents live on February 27th. And, well, initially I was pretty excited because I was like, you know what? They may give us those old games. It's quite possible. But then literally, as soon as it opened, they're like, today is the 29th. And I was like, nope, nope, not going to do anything. It's going to be, we're just going to get Pokemon Legends information. They're just going to tell us that. That's going to be the big announcement. We're not getting the old Game Boy games. Maybe next year. Next year might be the time that actually happens. But anyway, I'll just quickly rapid fire a little bit through some of the announcements. They talked about Pokemon Concierge again. I guess they're coming back for a season 2 in September of 2025, which is very exciting, actually. Uh, I do have a young daughter, and so it is really kind of easy to just put on Pokemon Concierge, and it's just some lighthearted, fun stuff. She loves the animation. I do too. It's really cool looking. So I'm glad that that's not a one and done kind of deal. They're coming back full force. And even right now, apparently, for a limited time, the first 4 episodes are free to watch on YouTube, which is great. I kind of wish they just kept those on there. Just leave the first like season maybe up. Like each season that comes out, just release it on YouTube for free. You're gonna get ad revenue. Like just come on, Pokemon. You don't got enough money. Anyway, after that, we got a whole bunch of kind of rapid fire announcements for the mobile games. I really liked that. Um, the prior Pokemon presents have always sort of been, I don't know, they drag it on so long with the app stuff, and you're just like, okay, we want actual mainline titles or spin-offs and like actual, you know, games that we're going to see on the Switch. Most of the people I feel like that watches these presentations are wanting Switch software. But anyway, new stuff for Pokemon Go, which was very exciting. Uh, I haven't really touched Pokemon Go in quite a while. It's been a long time since I played that game. I hit it hard though, buddy. I hit that game hard in 2016. At the time, I was actually in the United States Air Force and I was stationed in Honolulu, Hawaii. There is not a better possible place to be for Pokemon Go's launch because I was living on base and everybody was running around the base playing it. Whole bunch of military dudes. And it was Air Force guys, it was Navy guys, Marines were out there, like Army, it dependents, it didn't matter. Everybody loved it. It was honestly some of my favorite Pokemon memories. And it's kind of weird because I'm starting to feel nostalgic actually for Pokemon Go. And I was like, why am I'm kind of feeling kind of nostalgic for that. It's like, oh my God, it was almost 10 years ago. It's been almost 10 years since Pokemon Go, which is pretty wild. I probably need to jump back in there. Like I said, I haven't touched that in forever. I may have to start that up again. But then I got really excited because I started seeing some oh my goodness, some legendary Pokemon from the Hoenn region. I'm seeing, you know, uh, oh my goodness, oh boy, Kyogre and Groudon. Oh man, I'm so sorry. I'm not a huge Pokemon fan, but Hoenn is my favorite region. I absolutely love that area. Uh, but of course, it was just a Pokemon Masters EX announcement, which I have never touched. I might though. You never know. And then, of course, it's expected now. We got the Pokemon Cafe Remix updates, which is great. I'm glad that game is doing well. I've never touched it. I don't know a single person that's touched it. If you love it, awesome. I'm glad that Pokemon is so loyal to this game. It looks cute, but I don't know. It's really not my thing personally. However, then they did give us an update. An update's coming for Pokemon Sleep. It looks like there's going to be two legendary, I believe they're both legendary Pokemon that are going to be limited time Pokemon Sleep things. I don't know. I played Pokemon Sleep religiously for like 6 months. I would every night. I bought the little Pokemon Go Plus thing. That was great. I used it every single night. I was excited to wake up. Like, you know, I was heavily into the game. However, once my daughter hit her terrible twos, Sleep was a little bit more hard to come by. Slowly stopped playing it. Might get back into it now since she has restabilized since then. But I did really like that game. I thought it was really kind of cool, really kind of fun. More stuff for Pokemon Unite, obviously. They always talk about that game as well. I'm sorry, I know nothing about Pokemon Unite. I'm not. I don't know. I need to try some of these games. I've never tried any of this stuff. I believe there was another announcement in there somewhere. I'm not 100% sure. But then the big announcement, the one app that I do play currently religiously, I think my thing is that I can only play one Pokemon app mobile game at a time, right? It's either going to be Pokemon Go or it's either going to be Pokemon Sleep or what it is currently right now, which is Pokemon Trading Card Game, the TCG. I love this game. It is so much fun. I was mildly excited about it when it was coming out, and now that it is out, I've been playing it every day since release. It's really great. You just get your 2 free packs. Never spend any money on it. Don't fall for the microtransactions, but just get your free packs every single day. Do the wonder picks, all that other kind of stuff. It's awesome. I love it to death. Highly disappointed by the trading aspect though. You can't trade like really good cards. It's like, man, that's the whole point. Like, you're killing me here. I was so excited because I was like, I've got a ton of like 1 or 2 of the like full art rare cards, and it's like I only need a couple more of the full arts to finish out, all the full arts from that booster pack or whatever. So maybe I could find other people online to like trade with, and it's like, oh, you can't trade those. Like, you can't trade those cards for some reason. Hopefully they change that someday because I want some of these more rare cards. However, I have a theory about this because I've seen some people complaining about this. This is why I think they don't let you do that. Because there's a lot of instances, especially with Pokemon, and I've noticed it also with Animal Crossing. You can go on eBay and just say, I want this Pokemon, or I want this shiny Pokemon. I was actually scrolling through eBay the other day trying to find a Pokemon Game Boy Advance guide, just looking at the prices of how much Gen 3 guides are. And I just stumbled across a listing for a shiny Rayquaza that you could just buy for $7 from Pokemon Emerald or something like that. And I'm assuming you would just go online, you could do the trade, and then before you know it, it's in your Pokemon home. So I'm assuming that Game Freak and these guys, they don't want people to be able to sell these cards on eBay. That's my logic. That's at least what I'm thinking. They're like, hey, we want to allow you to trade. We want you to have your fun. However, we can't have you selling the most requested and the most rare cards on eBay for actual money. We don't really want you doing that. That's why I think that they've capped it. That's why they've said no. We see you, eBay. We know what you're doing over there. We don't like it. But anyway, the trading card game is getting a new themed booster pack, Triumphant Light, which is coming out February 28th. So it's out right now. I know it's February 28th in Japan, and it's about to be February 28th for you all in North America. So it is out, I think, for all of us by now at this point. Well, especially since you're hearing this. You're probably hearing this 8 years from now, maybe. I don't know. Anywho, moving on. Let's see. What do we got here? Oh, also, Mega Evolutions are apparently coming to the TCG as well. If you care, hey, more EX, more rare cards, great. That's exciting. Who doesn't want more EX cards? So then they got me. and they got me. They started showing all of the old nostalgic stuff, kids playing with Game Boys, playing with DSs, 3DSs, N64s. I saw all that stuff, and I thought, oh, this might be something. You know, I've heard a few people say they thought it was going to be Pokemon Stadium. That never even occurred to me, which is actually that makes a lot more sense than what I thought. I thought maybe it's like, oh, maybe they're going to kind of hint at getting us some of the new, some of the old games back. However, it looks to be like a new Pokemon Stadium style kind of game. Like I've said, I'm sure there's a lot of Pokemon fans out there right now that are, pulling their hair out because they probably know exactly what it is, and I don't. But, Pokemon Champions will be coming out. The thing that I actually find most fascinating about this is that it's coming to mobile and the Nintendo Switch. That is a great idea. However, depending on how the combat is, I feel like Switch players would have a huge advantage with physical inputs, unless it's going to be turn-based, which it probably will be turn-based. But I don't know. Initially, I thought maybe it's like going to be like a Pokken tournament sort of kind of style, where it's like kind of like a fighting game. Who knows? I have no idea what I'm talking about when it comes to Pokemon. I know mainline stuff. I know Pokemon Snap, but besides that, I start to kind of fuzz out on most of the details. Another big announcement was that I'm trying to remember what the exact wording was for this. I believe they are localizing Pokemon moving forward to South American countries, which I thought it already was. I guess I didn't, I'm just aware of, English and, Japanese languages. I don't really know. I figured it was already a global thing, but hey, man, that's great. Fantastic. Open it up to more people. There's a whole demographic of people you're not reaching out there. I know Pokemon's already, they're already insanely wealthy. They've already got more money than they know what to do with. Why not expand to more countries? But I'm sure the kids down there will love it. It'll be great. It'll be fantastic. Get everybody involved. You could probably, and I'm calling it now, they're probably going to host, oh boy, what's the name of that event? Sorry, I just had to look it up. The Pokemon World Championships. I know that actually they just did it in Honolulu, Hawaii. Of course they just did it in Honolulu. I just left there like 2 years ago. But I'm calling it now. They're probably going to do a world they're probably going to do a world championship in Latin America now that they've wanted to expand there, just to get a lot of publicity to that area and to show people, hey, this is some cool stuff. You want to come in and, play the games and play the card games? Like, we're in town now. So why don't you come on down and play some Pokemon? I'm sorry. Oh my God. Anyway, finally, onto the big main announcement that we've all been waiting for. Pokemon Legends ZA. I'm actually very excited for this. So I was a little disappointed when they announced this because I am not a huge Kalos region fan. Like, I think it's really cool. I enjoyed X and Y. I played it when it came out on the 3DS. However, it was always just kind of okay for me. I never lost my mind about it. But watching these people run around, you could sit at you could stop at a cafe and get coffee with your Pokemon. There's going to be these wild areas where you can encounter Pokemon and catch them. It actually looks really cool. I've got kind of high hopes for this. It's kind of interesting, and it looks like you can go onto the rooftops and stuff like that. So it's gonna maybe you can even go under the ground into the subway or something like that. It feels like it's gonna open up bigger than they've shown us. The combat looks absolutely incredible. It looks really intense. I don't know. I'm really excited to get a further look at it. Hopefully they're going to show us some more information soon and start getting us hyped because we know it's coming out holiday of 2025. They have not set a date yet, but there's no way it's not coming out in November. I mean, it'll probably be the third Thursday or the third Friday of November, whatever, Game Freak, wherever they want to release it. But Pokemon ZA, man, it looks fantastic. It looks better than I thought it was going to look. I know a lot of people I've seen online think that the graphics don't look too great, and they're worried that it's going to look a lot like Scarlet and Violet. I understand those concerns. I'm gonna choose to stay optimistic here. I'm gonna choose to stay optimistic and say, hey, Legends Arceus looked fine to me. It wasn't the most beautiful, technically impressive game, but for me, it did the job. And I am 100% going with Totodile. Totodile is the man. Very happy to see that he's a starter. At least I'm pretty sure he's a starter. Psyched on that. Very excited for that. This will be a day one purchase for me. Well, actually, 75% there. I'm 75% there. You know, if some of the folks are able to get reviews out to us before release date, and if there's significant performance issues, I might pass because I almost passed on Scarlet and Violet. Nintendo Life released their game when the embargo lifted, and I was 50-50 on it. I was like, you know what? I don't know about this. This has sort of soured it for me. Because I had a pre-order for both games. I had the double pack. I was at the time I was living in the middle of a city. I had the exclusive dual pack available or on pre-order for me, and I was like, you know what? I might not pick this up because I'm about to drop, essentially $130 on both of these games, and neither of them are going to really run great. I don't know about that. But I ended up biting the bullet, and I was like, you know what? It's my first Pokemon game in Japan. Just go see what it's like. I'll see all the people. I saw everybody was all excited for it. Everybody's picking up their copies and getting their little pre-order bonuses and stuff like that. And it was fun. It was enjoyable. That was more fun for me than playing the actual game. Like, I really enjoyed what I played of it, but I don't know. Playing it at launch was rough. I'm sure that it's great now. I probably need to go back to it now because I'm sure that it runs better and it's a better experience, but at the time, I don't know. I was just kind of bummed on it, but I have high hopes. I've got high hopes for this title. I loved the last Legends game, and I really hope they keep going, man. Keep going. Don't stop with these titles. But that pretty much concludes everything from the Pokemon Presents. Overall, I thought it was fine. Got a nice surprise with that Pokemon Championship game, or Champions game, sorry, and I might have to check that out. That looks pretty sweet. I'm definitely going to want to check out Legends ZA. That is way up there for me. I might have to go back to Pokemon Sleep. I don't know where that Pokemon or that Pokeball Go Plus thing. Plus Plus? I think it was Plus Plus. Pokemon Go Plus Plus, I think was what it was called. Yeah, the hockey puck. I really liked that thing. That was pretty sweet. And it charged via USB-C. I love it. Keep it going. Don't make me change the batteries. The batteries, I don't want to do that anymore. So I plug in the USB-C. Let's rock and roll. Everything else I've got is USB-C. It's so easy. So great. I just hooked it to my bag. Come on. Let's do it. Sorry, I'm rambling. Let me think. Is there anything else that I want to discuss before we close off for the day? Not really too much. Fun fact, though, Pokemon Day is actually shared with my father-in-law's birthday. So every year I kind of come up to my wife and I go, hey, next week's Pokemon Day. And she's like, oh, yeah, next week's my father's birthday. And it's like, I bet you he's excited. Gonna get some new Pokemon information. It's like a yearly thing that I always give her a hard time for. But she's a good sport. She puts up with me. I do what I can. But anyway, that's going to do it for us here for the Pokemon Presents. Overall, solid performance. Looking forward to new announcements. But I do walk away from this Presents saying I'm really just looking forward to that 30th anniversary now. I'm looking forward to next year because next year is going to be probably the big one. Or not at all. Who knows? We haven't really gotten a big one, I feel like, in quite a while. I've watched. I remember watching the 20th anniversary one. I watched the 20th anniversary one, and they did a bunch of cool stuff for that one too. So who knows? Hopefully the 30th will be big. Hopefully by that point, They'll give us the old games. I'll say that here's sort of a controversial take from me. I don't want them on NSO. I want to just buy them. I don't want them to be stuck on NSO and I can't physically buy them. I would love it on a cartridge. Put them on a cartridge. I know a lot of people would probably complain and say we're spending $60 for a Nintendo Switch cartridge with a couple Game Boy ROMs on it. Like, what are we doing? And it's like, yeah, but it's kind of having these games physically is just very important. And the cartridges now are just crazy expensive. I mean, I have a couple of times I have gone onto eBay and I'm like, look, I'm going to buy Pokemon Emerald complete inbox. I'm just going to bite the bullet. I'm just going to do it. And I get there and I find a listing that I want. I go to the page and I'm about to hit buy and I just can't pull the trigger. Because I know that the prices are just going to keep going up and up and up. So, buying it now is probably the cheapest it's ever going to be. It's just only going to get more expensive from here on out. I do have a complete inbox Pokemon Emerald Japanese edition, but I want that North American, man. I'm nostalgic for that North American. They get me with the nostalgia every time. Kills me. But if they would just say, hey, Logan, calm down. Here's a couple Switch cartridges with all those ROMs on there. You're good, man. You don't need to spend 300, 400, 500, whatever they're going to be in the future. It would be nice just to say, hey, here's a gift for the 30th anniversary. Do another limited time thing like you did with the, well, they didn't do it. That Nintendo did with the Mario 3D All-Stars thing. Just say, hey, 6 months, you can buy these physically and digitally. After that, we're taking them down. Good, great. I'll buy like 4 copies, open only one. The rest will go in the closet. We'll be good. I'll be fine. But anyway, that'll probably do us here for the Pokemon Presents. I'm still really looking forward to that Nintendo Direct, man. That's what I'm really excited for. But why don't you stay tuned? I'll be back next week. I appreciate you listening. Take care.